By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what separates a high-value woman from a low-value one, and more importantly, how to protect yourself from the kind that can ruin your future without even meaning to. Here are the 6 signs you're dealing with a low-value woman. And trust me, number 6 is the one most men never see coming, so make sure you watch till the end. Let's go. 1. She never takes responsibility. You'll know you're dealing with a low-value woman when every story she tells ends the same way. It's never her fault. If she's single, men are the problem. If she's broke, the world is unfair. If her life is messy, people keep hurting her. A woman who never owns her decisions is a woman stuck in denial. She'll repeat the same mistakes again and again because blame feels safer than growth. Here's what most men miss. When she refuses to take responsibility, she's telling you her future. Because if she can't own her past, she'll never protect your future. A high-value woman admits when she's wrong. She learns, she adjusts, she grows. A low-value woman hides behind excuses. And the longer you listen, the more you'll start apologizing for things you never did. Remember this. You can't build peace with someone who profits from chaos. When she can't own her part in the storm, she'll make you the lightning rod. And that's why the next sign matters even more. Because it reveals what she values most when there's nothing left to blame but herself. 2. She builds her life around looks, not character. A low-value woman worships attention. She lives for the mirror, for likes, for comments that remind her she matters. Her beauty becomes her identity, and her phone her validation machine. At first, it looks harmless. She's confident, stylish, and radiant. But watch closely. She invests in the image, not the person behind it. When her self-worth depends on being seen, she'll do anything to stay visible, even if it means losing her peace. She'll trade authenticity for approval, depth for desire, and wisdom for attention. But here's where most men fail. They mistake presentation for peace. They chase the glow and ignore the emptiness behind it. Understand this. Beauty fades. Character doesn't. Looks can attract you, but integrity is what keeps you safe. And a woman who's addicted to attention will always need an audience, even in a relationship. That's why a high-value man must ask himself one question before falling for her charm. Does she want to be loved or just admired? If it's the second, walk away because admiration is temporary, but energy loss lasts a lifetime. And now that you understand what she values, you'll start to notice how she defends those values, usually by arguing instead of reflecting, which brings us to the next point. 3. She argues more than she thinks. You've seen this before. The endless debates, the emotional reactions, the need to be right even when logic says otherwise. For a low-value woman, the argument isn't about truth. It's about control. She interrupts, corrects, exaggerates, and weaponizes emotions. Not because she's evil, but because listening requires humility. And that's something she never learned. A conversation with her isn't communication. It's combat. She doesn't want understanding. She wants victory. And that's where many men lose themselves. They start debating to prove a point. They start explaining to gain peace. But every time you argue with ego, you lose twice. Your energy and your respect. A high-value woman speaks less and thinks more. She values calm over chaos, reflection over reaction. She understands that silence can solve what shouting never will. So here's your rule, brother. Never wrestle with ego. It feeds off attention. If she can't find peace within herself, she'll start wars around her. And this is why the next sign hits harder, because it shows what happens when she refuses to learn from the wars she starts. Before we go deeper, just do one thing for me. Hit the like button. If this is already hitting something real, what's coming next will hit even harder. Let's keep going. 4. She never learns from her mistakes. You can tell a lot about a woman not by her past, but by whether she's learned from it. A low-value woman lives in a cycle. Same kind of men, same kind of chaos, same kind of heartbreak. Every new beginning looks different. But somehow it always ends the same. She says she's healing. But healing without reflection is just running in circles. Here's the truth most men overlook. She doesn't actually want to grow. She wants comfort. And comfort means never facing the reality that she might be the problem. When you meet a woman who constantly blames her exes, calls every man toxic, and yet keeps dating the same kind, that's not bad luck. That's poor pattern recognition. A wise woman makes a mistake once, maybe twice, but then she pauses. She asks herself hard questions. She rewires her habits and rebuilds her peace. A low-value woman never pauses. She rushes into the next thrill to distract herself from the lesson she avoided, and the cycle repeats. But here's where most men fail. They think they can be her lesson. They think she'll change for me. Brother, she won't. Not until pain teaches her what logic couldn't. You can't fix what refuses to face itself. You can only distance yourself before her pattern becomes yours. And that's why the next point matters, because it reveals what she does when life demands direction. 5. She has no plan, only desire. Ask her where she sees herself in 5 years, and she'll smile and say, "I just want to be happy." But happiness isn't a plan, it's a result. A low V-value woman loves freedom but hates structure. She'll tell you she wants success but won't build consistency. She'll say she wants love but won't practice patience. She wants results without routine. Here's the dangerous part. Her life philosophy sounds poetic, but it's rooted in avoidance. She confuses freedom with escaping accountability, and to a man with purpose, that's poison. Because while you're building, planning, sacrificing, she's living for the weekend, chasing vibes, and calling impulsiveness self-expression. And over time, you'll notice she never grows. She keeps starting from scratch because she never finishes anything. A wise woman respects direction. She's not afraid of structure. She values it because it brings peace. A low-value woman rejects it because it exposes her lack of discipline. But here's where most men get trapped. They see her free spirit and think it means adventure. They confuse instability for excitement, but that thrill fades fast when you realize she has no roots. And you're Theon trying to hold her steady. You can't plan a future with someone who doesn't plan their own. And that's what leads to the final, most revealing sign. 6. She chooses friends who keep her weak. You want to know who she really is? Don't look at her photos, look at her circle. If her friends gossip, complain, party every weekend, and have zero growth goals, you're not dating just her. You're dating her environment. A low V-value woman chooses friends who make her feel comfortable, not accountable. She wants validation, not direction. She wants people who say, "You're right," even when she's clearly wrong. And here's the danger. Her circle becomes her echo chamber. If she tries to change, they'll pull her back. If she starts to grow, they'll call her different. If she meets a high-value man, they'll whisper, "He's controlling." A wise woman knows that growth means losing old company. A low V-value woman fears loneliness, so she settles for average and stays stuck in the same drama she claims to hate. So, brother, pay attention to her tribe, because who she listens to will eventually shape how she listens to you. Your peace is your responsibility. Now you know the truth. Low-value women aren't just around you. Sometimes they're disguised as potential, and most men lose years of their life trying to save someone who isn't ready to save herself. This isn't about judging anyone. It's about protecting yourself, because the wrong woman doesn't just waste your time. She rewires your peace. She drains your focus, kills your discipline, and makes you forget who you were before you met her. But here's the good news. You can spot it now. You can see the patterns. You can walk away early before her storm becomes your story. A high-value man doesn't chase. He observes. He doesn't argue. He analyzes. He doesn't force change. He sets standards. The goal isn't to find the perfect woman. It's to recognize the kind of woman who makes you lose yourself and learn to never trade your peace for her potential. Because real strength isn't about fighting chaos. It's about building a life so stable that chaos can't survive in it. If this message hit you deep, brother, hit that like button. Subscribe for more truth like this, because the men who stay curious become the men who can't be fooled. Stay grounded, stay sharp, and always protect your peace.